Welcome back, everybody, and thanks so much for joining us here at smallcapvoice.com as we welcome back IIOT-Oxys. The company is traded on the OTC under the ticker symbol ITOX, and as you can see, we're joined by two guests today, one being the CEO of Oxys, and that is Cliff Emmons. We're also joined by Javier Diaz. He is the CTO of Aingura. Now, Aingura is a strategic partner of Oxys, and the reason why we're getting together today is wonderful news hit the press wire. Here's the dateline, June 2nd, 2022. Here's the headline, IIOT-Oxys structural health monitoring business gains traction and recognition. Now, we will be referring to that structural health monitoring system as SHM throughout this interview, but there's a lot to unpack in this news. Let me give you a couple of the gems that I pulled out. The contract extension from a Department of Transportation of a major Northeast state, originally announced in March 2022, has ensured the company's revenue for the second quarter of 2022 will exceed that for all of 2021. So business is definitely booming. And also we're lucky to have Javier and Cliff because they are making the rounds. They've been asked to jointly present at the Digital Twin Consortium Q2 member meeting in Orlando, right around the corner, June 21st, June 23rd. And they're going to be talking about the application of digital twins for structural integrity diagnosis. Now, with that, Cliff, thanks so much for joining us. Now, both you and Javier gave us an update not long ago on the SHM business. We were talking in March. Can you share how things have progressed since then?
Absolutely. And first of all, let me say it's great to be back here speaking with you and your viewers. So the progress has been excellent since the announcement made back in March. That was when we knew our contract was going to be extended with this particular DOT. And I'm happy to say that we have begun monitoring. It started back up in April and it's continuing through June. And we got some additional great news from that DOT because they asked us to give them a full proposal for extending the monitoring a full year in the 2022 to 2023 fiscal year for this DOT. And with that, including upgrades to both our hardware and software, as well as the monitoring. So we're very excited about this. The fact that they have come to us and said, look, we see value in this and we want you to put forward the proposal that will go in with all of our current budgeting for the 2022 to 2023 fiscal year. So very exciting news.
Exciting news indeed. And Javier, for our viewers today, there might be some other takeaways. What are your personal takeaways on this relationship, this partnership as a whole, but also the success with this contract and your SHM capabilities?
Okay. First of all, it's really nice, Stuart, just to come back with you and join this interview with Cliff and all the viewers. And let's say from your question, let's say the other takeaways are that let's say our teams have the chance to prove machine learning algorithms that are deployed in order to improve the traditional visual inspection of the bridges. And it's just really appreciated by bridge owners like the DOT. At the end, we are providing additional objective insights coming from basically from data of the bridge that can enhance those traditional methods. And that's the explanation let's say that they really like or they appreciate what we are doing.
Well, based on the recognition you guys are getting for this work, it seems like the value is being validated by these third parties as well as you making the rounds as a keynote speaker. Javier, back in March, we mentioned that you'll be a keynote speaker at an important SHM conference in July. Can you share some additional info with our viewers about the conference and about you being the keynote speaker? What are you bringing to the table? Give us a peek into your speech.
Yes, it's the International Conference on Bridge Maintenance, Safety and Management, and this year is in Barcelona. It will be, let's say my keynote will be the 13th of July, And this title is the Artificial Intelligence and Industrial IoT Convergence towards Automated Bridge Inspection, which is almost the summary of what we are doing right now with the bridges in DOT. And this is really important as this invitation as a keynote is just a result of our stable relationships that we have here with the universities. Basically to develop our research and development, and actually sometimes hosting some doctoral students from them. So in this case, specifically the relationship with the structural engineers, professors from the Polytechnical University of Barcelona, or Universidad Politécnica de Barcelona, the official name. They just invite us to explain what we are doing in this particular scenario, as they always love to see real applications on these topics.
Well, that's great news for yourself and for this union, this partnership. And Cliff, as I pointed out at the outset of this interview, you also will be speaking. Tell us a little bit about what's coming up for your companies in Orlando.
Thanks, Stuart. And actually, this is going to be a joint presentation, as mentioned in the press release. Javier and I have been invited, as you mentioned, to the Digital Twin Consortium's second quarter member meeting, as you mentioned, in Orlando. And we're going to be speaking about, again, the application of digital twins for structural integrity diagnosis. So again, building on the work that we've been doing here in the US and in Europe, and sharing that with other subject matter experts in this consortium. So it's an excellent chance for us to continue to validate our actual capabilities here. And just want to say it really is a way that we can leverage this to it's basically third-party recommendations that we can use as we are pursuing additional business.
Well, excellent. Now, when we spoke back in January, you talked to, and so many companies, you know, validation is a salient theme through this interview. Validation allows your company to do prospect generation. Obviously, as we talked back in January, a key goal for you, like I said, for a lot of businesses, is to drive new growth, new prospects, new blood. Talk to me about how things are going on this front.
Absolutely. And one of the ways in which we're going to drive that new business, and it's a point that I want to make about this presentation we'll be making in Orlando, is part of that presentation is making it clear that the work that we've done developing these machine learning algorithms is something that's not just applicable to the structural health monitoring business. It's also applicable directly to the other emphasis that Aingura and Oxys are working together on, which is smart manufacturing. And we're very excited for this because it's perfect timing. Javier and his team are coming off some great proof of concepts, POCs, in Europe that we plan to leverage for smart manufacturing here. Now, there's also it just comes down to good prospecting efforts. So what I'm going to do first is allow Javier to talk about how things are going in Europe and some other geographies, and then we'll come back to me to talk about how things are going in the Americas.
Yes, thank you, Cliff. And let's say that we can just explain some of these proof of concepts that we are building. And regarding the bridges, it's also important as we have here a local bridge here in Spain. We have a proof of concept, which is giving us the leverage that we need in order to access to infrastructure maintenance in Europe and around, like in the Middle East, where we already show just in the last week, we already show how this proof of concept is working. Let's say that is important for us as the end users in these cases, and others applied to manufacturing, and of course about this type of technologies that Oxys and Aingura are working on. They always need to see a proof that the system is able to work and do and be compliant with local requirements, which is another explanation of why we have another bridge instrumented and working right here. Let's say that we apply all this learning in terms of deployments, and it's very important also to work and to escalate to other markets. Additionally, in this proof of concept, let's say that is not exactly the same in terms of deployment in the US or in Europe. There are some differences. So we are also learning by ourselves, and our teams have to manage those different markets.
And Javier, some of those different markets include the Middle East as well. Is that true?
Yes. Actually, yes. As I have said, let's say this proof of concept, what we are doing in this bridge, we already show how it's working and what we are able to do on them. And applying those technologies, those machine learning technologies, just the last week. Sorry. So and that's important because they have been able to see that deployment and let's say in a near environment from them. So it's important, of course, for our business development.
Cliff, let's hear from you on this.
Sure. So as everybody knows, the largest monolithic market in the world is the US market, and structural health monitoring is no different. The fact that we have traction with a major Northeast DOT is the perfect third-party recommendations that we need to leverage into other states throughout the US. And specifically, one of the things our subject matter experts have shown us is there are several public databases that basically give lots of information about all of the different bridges that exist throughout the US and essentially who those owners are, mostly, state DOTs. And by using and mining that information, we're going to be able to create a rich target of DOT leaders and states, especially relative to the specific bridges that we've had a lot of success with, and actually be able to expand into other bridge types as well. The other thing that I want to emphasize is this is, again, a perfect storm for us, because I want to remind everybody about the $1 trillion infrastructure bill that was signed into law back in November of 2021. And specifically, just for bridges, bridge repair, replacement, and enhancements, which includes instrumentation, there is $26.5 billion US dollars allocated to this effort. So it's huge. The other thing is that I'm happy to say that we're actually looking both north and south of our border through our subject matter experts that we have been able to gather, and advisors in South America, but also in Canada. So we're very excited to share our proof of concept that we've shown here and leverage that into some great business. So with that, if it's okay, I'm going to give some concluding remarks, Stuart, about exactly where we feel this is all going. So we made a commitment to our shareholders that they would see revenue increases this year, that we would win new business. And I think this gives strong evidence of that. First and foremost, like I said, this quarter is going to be a great rebound for us, and we'll catch up to what we actually did in 2021. But just simply by the proposal that we have in front of this DOT for a full year of monitoring through the 22-23 season means that we can get back to pre-pandemic revenue levels that we saw before all these things got started. So we are so excited that this is only one segment of our business that we feel is going to help us expand into our other strong segments. So we really see some excellent, strong growth ahead.
Great news. I'm sure music to the ears of your shareholders. You both have been very generous with your time here at Small Cap Voice so far here in 2022. We look forward to speaking with both of you again. Good luck on your upcoming speaking engagements later this month in Orlando, and then for you, Javier, in July. Cliff, thanks so much for your time here today.
Thank you, Stuart. Great to be here.
And Javier,
Thank you very
thank you for joining us all the way from Spain. We always appreciate your time. We're always jealous of where you are. I think I'd like to be there right now as it's getting very hot here in Texas.
Okay, thank you very much, Stuart.
All right, for Cliff Emmons and Javier Diaz, this is Stuart Smith from smallcapvoice.com saying thanks so much for joining us. And hey, take a closer look at ticker symbol ITOX. Go back through that flow of news, add them to your watch list, do your due diligence, and we hope ultimately make the decision to add them to your portfolio. Once again, for Cliff and Javier, this is Stuart Smith signing off.